And away we go. It is the live nightcap post-game edition right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website. They will get you taken care of. Delivery right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up, and you can save yourself 15% off of that Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Great spot. Go get you some tendies. Nestle up for the Super Bowl tomorrow night. Hi, Aaron.
Yo.
How's it going, buddy?
I made money tonight, so there is that.
You caught a live line at plus 12?
Plus 12.5, yeah.
When was that?
Threw a bunch of money at it when it was 19.4.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
It was I think it was the timeout right when I didn't know. I saw the line moving, and it was a timeout where I was watching, and it was apparently when Wes was getting teed up and there were free throws being taken. And I'm like, oh, why does it keep going? It's still going. It just went from 400 to 450 to what's happening?
Oh man. So final score, Houston 67, Cincinnati 62. As you mentioned, Houston jumps out early. Cincinnati battles back, takes a lead at halftime. You know, in Big 12 play, Aaron, they're 0-2 with a halftime lead. West Virginia and Houston, the only two games that they have been up at the half, they have managed to let both of them get away. They started the second half pretty well, got up 7, and then until the final segment, it was all Houston for about 12 minutes. What changed the game and really swung things is they get up 7. A little less than 3 minutes into the second half as Dan misses a layup. John comes flying in from the backside, tips it in. Up 7, Sampson calls a timeout, and then that 7 was back to 0 in about 90 seconds. And it didn't really stop there as Houston pushed it all the way out to 9. They did get it up to 10 with 4:05 left. Cincinnati gets it all the way back down to 2. Coming out of a timeout, that shot that LJ Cryer made, who had been out most of the day, Cincinnati did a great job getting and keeping him in foul trouble, keeping him ineffective. And then he hits a one-footed, guarded, kind of almost desperation shot.
It was a circus shot.
Yeah. And that puts them back up 4 and just can't ever really make it happen from there. Juwan Roberts had a big block on Jizzle James where Jizzle had a chance, went baseline, almost cut it to 2. But Roberts gets him from the backside and pokes it away. And that really pretty much put a nail in the coffin. They go up 6 on a second chance by Javier Francis. And that was about the end. It's a different day. Very similar story, Aaron. 37% from the floor, 30% from 3. They did get better as the game went on at the free throw line. Ended up at 72% from the game, which is about 10 points above their season average. So, West didn't get a T for nothing. It's my least favorite fucking thing on the planet, Aaron, is when the ref made a terrible call. If you watch that play, Shed comes downhill, gets his arm into the defender, and then once that arm locks, that is supposed to be an automatic charge. an automatic charge. No matter what happens, once
so
they do
egregious.
This,
When your defender goes flying, and your arm's still there.
It's the one thing I hate about officiating more than anything. The guy makes a bad call and then walks down Wes to tee him up. In the huddle. The guy walked into the UC huddle to tee up Wes in that situation. You just made a bad call, okay? You made a bad call. It happens. But now you've teed up the coach. So now it's 2 free throws and the ball. They get it. They score. That's a 4-point swing right there when it should have just been Houston ball out of bounds. I mean, that it pisses me off to no end that you make a call like that and then you go hunt down the coach to penalize him for being mad that you made a bad call. Well, it's bullshit.
This call was right after Aziz had been called for traveling, and Houston is sliding on the floor with the ball. You're not dribbling, you're just sliding.
They fell twice and didn't have a traveling call. I mean,
that said, we'll get now that that's out of the way.
I'm not blaming the officiating.
You also are not going to beat Houston by letting them shoot a good jump shooting team, letting them shoot 18 more times than you.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it does come down to Cincinnati gave up 17 offensive rebounds and 22 second chance points. Aaron, it started. Did you see what the rebounding was at the beginning of the game?
It was
11-0. Well, they finally got one to make it 11-1. It was 11-0 to start the game. Houston got the first 11 rebounds. They set the tone.
I don't know that I've ever yelled that loudly to rebound a fucking ball.
Yeah.
It was a steady buildup.
Yeah, I mean, and look, at some point in time, Kelvin Sampson talked about it in the post game that this was schematic by them. So basically, they were attempting to get their guards in that 10 to 15 foot range because then the big has to step up to stop the drive down the lane, and then if they miss, Houston's crashing the glass. And first off, I thought you could tell. As good as Cincinnati is at fighting over screens and icing ball handlers and all the different things they do that are really good on defense, Houston came in looking to set great screens. I mean, they set, especially in that first segment, like when it got to 17-4, they were setting bone-crushing screens to get guys free that we haven't seen since – we got frustrated back early, around mid-December, the shootout in the Dayton game, where they were getting hit. They were getting hung up on a ton of screens. They had not had that happen to them all year. I mean, I'd bet good money, Aaron, for 2 days, Houston just practiced setting great screens and making sure the guy using the screen was running right off of the shoulder of the guy setting the screen. And the guy setting the screen was not looking to get to his next spot. He was looking to blow somebody up. And I think that set the tone for Houston early. Now, Cincinnati did a better job as the game went on, but I thought it set, that in the offensive rebounding, and they kind of went hand in hand because those guys were getting downhill into the lane because of the screens that were set. And look, man, you got to give Houston credit. They're just really well coached, and
what
they have a game plan, they have an identity, and you're just going to have to play better than them to beat them. And Cincinnati didn't play better than Houston today. There were stretches they did, but as a whole, not good enough.
You held Houston at the end of the first half. I believe it was over 5 minutes. How long did that end up going? That scoreless.
It was a while towards the end of the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what saved them. That's what got them back in it. It was 20-10, and it went into the half 32-29. So 22-9. That was
it was 19-4.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that like it right when things kind of flipped, was right around when it was 20-10 and actually 23-10. Shed hit a 3. That's what it was. That's really where things kind of made the swing for Cincinnati, and it was 32-6 or 22-6 the rest of the half.
I don't like that I was right about this, but I said all week that Juwan Roberts was the main reason that I was not going to believe that Cincinnati would win this game. I know I mentioned Damian Dunn. I know we saw they tried to get Damian Dunn involved.
Cincinnati took him out. Yeah,
they did.
And it was really for Roberts. It was that stretch in the middle of the second half.
Yep.
Where they took over, that they played through him, and Cincinnati they put bigs on him, they put littles on him. John had him at times, Seamas had him at times, Vic had him at times, and they just did not produce. Yes, Aziz and Jamil will be back again next season. Can we talk about Vic? Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Vic.
Go ahead. You want to talk about Vic?
You can do what you wanted to do first.
I just wanted to say that you brought up Aziz and Jamil. Jamil's best game.
Yeah, he's getting there.
I think that we are seeing just brick over brick over brick that he is becoming a guy that this team can lean into. And today I thought that his energy was unmatched.
He played well
compared to any other game that he's played in as a Bearcat.
He had 8. He was 4-6 from the line, 4 rebounds, 19 minutes. So, overall, I thought he is definitely on the right path. I mean, offensively, it's funny, Aaron, because it feels like they played pretty poorly offensively, but they were up over a point per possession against the number 1 defensive team in the country. A large reason for that is they didn't turn it over. Only 8 turnovers on the game, which we said if they're going to keep it close, can't turn the ball over. They did a good job taking care of it. But just too many gaps, Aaron. And we'll get to Vic, and Vic is part of this, so that's why I say we'll get to Vic. But they only had 31, I believe. 31 and 31. 31 points off the bench. 31 points from your starters, 31 points off the bench. The only starter in double digits was John Newman with 10. Day had 7. Vic didn't score. Seamas had 6. And Aziz had 8. And it's not good enough against Houston. It's not good enough. Top G, they play 0 minutes with Dan at the 4. Dan does not play the 4. Now they will bring him in. Here's why everybody thinks Dan plays the 4. Because when they bring Dan in, Vic goes out. So they think they're putting Dan in at the 4. But what they're doing is they're putting Dan in at the 2 or the 3, right, and then sliding John or Seamas to the 4. So I know it looks like Dan comes in at the 4, but he I don't know that he's played more than 2 or 3 possessions all season. Top G, I'm not concerned with what the announcers say. I'm telling you, he doesn't play the 4. Did you see Dan Skillings guarding Juwan Roberts? No. Why? Because he wasn't playing the 4. I'm just telling you. Like I'm 100% certain in that one. but Vic. So here's the thing. I'm going to say something now that is going to make people mad because they got mad when I said it about somebody else. You have to ride this out because for this team to reach its potential, to be the best version of this team it can be, Vic has to be a part of it. He has to be. And that's just not true, P. Crawley. Vic does not always clam up during conference play. He had 2 great games against Houston last year. Now, he wasn't great in the AAC tournament when he was still dealing with the ankle injury. But one way or another, they have got to get Vic back in the right frame of mind, on track, and being productive because he is a big part of this team's ceiling. And right now, he is playing like poo. We don't say the F word, Jeffrey. We don't say the F word. He's playing like crap. And you know, I agreed with Wes, but you know, in the Texas Tech game, the offensive production wasn't there, but he played overall pretty well. Tonight he just didn't. I mean, he had that first 3, which was a clean, good look. Go, and from there, like it can't be that simple that you miss a shot and your confidence just evaporates. And then you fire up 2 threes after that he had no business taking.
Correct. The Boo Birds, of course, at home don't help that confidence. That said,
don't get me started.
I think that if you are going to get if you're the route that you're choosing to take as this team goes is to let Vic shoot out of it, then you have to take the 3 away from him. I think that there should be a hard red light on him shooting 3s, period, and dot. And
then you can't play. He's playing a 4. You cannot have.
You can't shoot out of what he's doing right now, shooting 3s.
He has to take rhythm open 3s like the first one. The second and third ones were bad. They were rushed. He had no business taking those 2. But like the first one, that has to be a shot that Vic can step into and take. You have to take that one. The other 2, I agree. But Aaron, it's the typical he can't shoot take the red light. It's not allowed to take another 3 ever. Then you can't play him because you can't have 2 positions on the floor that can't shoot that will not shoot a 3.
You need to tell him that he needs to make a 2 before he can make a 3. He can't make a 3 right now. He can't. So
but you're not understanding.
Then take him off the floor. I don't want him shooting another fucking 3.
He played 12 minutes. He didn't play. They took him off the floor.
I'm just saying, like
if you're not listening. If you're going to play him at the 4, he has to be able to catch and shoot rhythm open 3s.
Then work him in at the 5 until he can make a 2. He can't make anything right now. He's got to make a 2 before he's going to make a 3.
Here we go. Anyhow, but it's so much deeper than him shooting a 3. Like his confidence is rock bottom right now.
Can't you? That's you build that up with the 2s, not
airball
3s.
Have you not fucking watched him get the ball in the post? He can't dribble. He walks. He throws it away. He can't even get a shot off from 2. Is how bad he is. If you want to put a red light on him, don't ever let him shoot from 2. He's a fucking disaster from 2 right now. He can't even get the ball on the rim.
I don't see how shooting 3s is going to build that confidence right now.
I don't see how turning it over before he gets the ball on the rim is solving anything either.
Well, then I guess we're back to how do you play him?
You have to, because you have to get him back on track.
The two things don't make sense together. They don't make sense together.
It's sports, Aaron. He's one of your best players. You have to get him back on track. You will not be as good as you can be if you just toss him aside. Do you understand that?
I agree, Chad, but that's why I think he should be taking nothing but twos until he is.
He can't get a 2 on the rim. He's not taking any 2s because he can't even get the ball on the rim from 2 right now. He is significantly worse at 2s than he is at 3s currently. And that's saying a lot because he can't make a 3. At least he's been close. Like, well, he had the first one go in and out. The other 2. But they have to figure out a way to get him back on track. They have to. And, you know, the fans freaking out about it is not going to solve anything. But it is what it is, I guess. Jamil has been getting Vic's minutes. Vic is typically a 30-minute a night guy. He played 13, and he wasn't in foul trouble. Jamil played 19. Jamil is getting his minutes. You guys are getting what you asked for.
Deservedly
still
so
freaking
tonight.
out about it.
And Jamil played very well.
And look, Vic was under 20 minutes in each of the last 2 games as well.
Right.
Wes isn't playing him just to play him. But there is a portion of you have to play him some because you need him to get back to being good.
Do you start him next week?
They did it in the second half. They started Dan. I start Dan, I think. And I go with, Day, Seamus, John, Dan, and Aziz or Jamil or whichever one. But and the problem though is a lot of what you're dealing with Vic is mental. How does he respond to not start? I mean, this is a guy that started for 3 years. So then you're adding another layer of oh boy on top of that you're trying to work him through. But I think I'm at the point, I mean, I think it makes sense to maybe go small initially.
I think you can sub him in relatively quickly, especially the way that this team.
Well, but the way they've been doing is they've been subbing him out and bringing Dan in early. So if you reverse that, but I mean that's part of the dilemma here is you've got to get him in a rhythm. You have got to get him. You probably don't need him all the way back to like 15, 16, 17 points. But if he can't get anywhere close to 10, your ceiling drops. You are going to have a tough time winning in this league if one of your 3 or 4 best players just vanishes for the second half of the season.
You also have largely been dependent on him for anywhere from 7 to 12 rebounds a game, and he's not doing that either.
Right.
Not offensively, not defensively.
Right. And I do think there's some of it where he's done a pretty good job when he's in kind of wiping guys out for his ease. But you still got to go get some rebounds. 0 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 fouls, 13 minutes. I mean, I know it's your favorite thing, Aaron. He played 13 minutes. Minus 15 in 13 minutes. So if you're the head coach, you've got a hell of a dilemma because you do need him. But right now, he's hard to play. And you got another guy that is surging as he is sliding. Did you pick up anything with Aziz? He went back into the tunnel with Bob at one point.
They didn't talk about any of that on the broadcast.
Yeah.
At least that, unless that was when Brennix was having her meltdown and I was dealing with a screaming child while mom was finishing up dinner. Yeah, I don't know.
Was Houston awful in Conference USA? Houston was awful for like 20 years.
And they
I
got
don't, and then
Kelvin
Kelvin
Sampson.
showed up, and
Mhm.
they have not been awful anymore. But yeah, I mean that's the dilemma you've got with Vic is right now he is making it hard to give him minutes. But if you're going to be the best version of yourself, you got to get him back on track. I mean, you got to get him back on track. We saw CJ for 2.5, 3 minutes tonight. Not surprised that he was very limited, and that's a game that's tough. It just here's Houston. Good luck. Welcome back. That's a tough one. He did try to get him back in at the beginning, the early in the second half. And they started to kind of pick themselves up off the mat. So he brought him back and sat him back down. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be a little longer before we saw him back. I was thinking probably at Central Florida, or maybe you saw him at Iowa State on Tuesday. Maybe there was a chance you saw him a little bit in that game, but hopefully they can get him back and he can kind of do his thing and start to stretch the floor a little bit for this offense, because
They
can
it.
get downhill.
Yeah.
They can get downhill. They can get to the rim.
They were aggressive tonight, more aggressive than we're accustomed to seeing, especially early in the first. Well, nothing was going early in the first, but I guess midway through the first, they started to get aggressive, and that changed the entire pace of this game. I think they played faster than they normally do, just in general. I think they played at Houston's pace rather than their own pace overall.
What do you mean by that?
I think, huh?
Houston played very tough.
Yeah, but I think I guess what I mean by that is Cincinnati was trying to get aggressive early in the shot clock, so Houston could not set up their defense, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the best ways to beat Houston. And not,
I'm not upset about it.
No, I'm just saying, if you let them dig in and guard you, you're doomed.
I want Cincinnati to run. I want them to do that often. I want them. In a lot of the losses, I feel like the issue that I have the most with their offense is when they're standing around just passing the ball and nothing's really popping off. Right? The ball's not popping the way that we like to see it go, and the offense isn't moving at as fast as I like.
But Aaron, I think it's also fair to acknowledge that sometimes that is because the defense is really, really good.
Yeah, well, doesn't mean I like it.
I get you. I'm just saying, there's a reason they're number one in the country in defense by a wide margin, and it's because they don't let you do what you're good at.
By the way, P. Crawley, UC solves the Roberts problem because this is his last season.
Are we sure
no more
about
that? He can't. There's no way he can have another year. There's no way.
I don't think he does. I'm just kidding. I agree with Aaron. We should play more teams that aren't really good defensively.
Yeah.
Go back. What you want to do is go back to the American.
Mo had a tweet he put out. He said Juwan Roberts has played in 123 college basketball games. He's had 14 or more points in only 15 of those games.
4 of them since
4 of them have come against UC. My God.
He loves seeing the Bearcats. That's for sure. That is for sure. Shed can't go left. Okay. They did a great job on him. He was 6 for 25.
Did I hear right that that's 10 in a row now we've lost to Houston?
I believe that's the right number. Yeah. Wes is 0-7, and I think the other staff was 0-3. Yeah.
Man.
This was getting there. Just defensively, Jizzle's progression seemed to continue on track. Yeah. I don't think anybody doubts that Jizzle's going to be a very good defender. It just takes time. And somebody said earlier, Wes seems to be trusting him a little bit more offensively at the end of games. I would agree. Like, we saw him in there quite a bit,
right,
in those final 4 minutes, which is what Aaron has been asking for.
Has he played 20 before tonight?
Yeah, he has in the past, but not a ton. I don't know if any in Big 12
conference play, I guess. Yeah. I think somebody said that it was his best game. I disagree. I think he's had better nights shooting, but defensively he was really good. So maybe that's making up for
his best all-around game. Maybe. I mean,
maybe that's fair.
3 of 8, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. I think all 3 were right at the rim.
Not afraid to drive.
No, I thought he got out on 2 of them that they just didn't call, but whatever. Is what it is.
We've got to see quite a bit though at the end there of the Jizzle and Day thing, and
I like that closing out games. I agree. I really do.
I wonder how much of it is because Vic is not got his head right currently. I also wonder how much of it is the fact that it was Houston that runs 4 guards in a big. So I don't know that you're going to continue to see that.
They run mostly 2 bigs.
I don't know. Did they have 2 bigs in at the end though? I think they went to 4 guards.
I mean, I know they did a little bit, yeah, with Wilson on the floor, but like,
especially
they generally play Roberts. Roberts played 37 minutes.
I think once they brought back Pryor,
from
his 4 fouls, they were 4 guards, I believe.
Because Roberts doesn't play a whole lot of 5. He mostly plays the 4 for them, and then Francis and Tugler, I think, eat up a bunch of minutes at the 5, most of their minutes at the 5. But I wasn't paying attention exactly to see how much they had Roberts at the 5 down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the guy makes a great shot. That's what happened. If he misses that shot and you go down and tie, like, that place loses its damn mind. And instead, you're down 4 and the pressure's on you there. Jizzle does a nice job to get to the rim, but like I said, Roberts kind of poked it out from behind as he was on his way up and forced it over the rim. And then they come down and get an offensive rebound, push it to 6. And that's pretty much it. I mean, look, you did everything you made life miserable for Shed. 6 of 25. He only shot 2 free throws. He's 2 of 8 from 3. Sure, he got his 16 points, but he did it on 25 shots. The problem being, Aaron, I'd love to know how many offensive rebounds they had on those misses from Shed. Because it felt like a bunch.
All of them. All of the rebounds.
Yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, it was
John Newman double-double. I just noticed that. I didn't even realize he had 10 rebounds.
Houston shot 50% in the second half.
Yeah, and they took 15 more shots. I mean, Cincinnati.
No.
18 of 25 from the free throw line. Houston was only 10 of 14. Houston was 3 of 16 from 3.
In the second half, Houston only shot 9 more times.
I'm talking about for the game.
Yeah. I'm
They
talking
shot
about the
18
second.
more shots on the game.
Yeah, I brought that stat up at the very beginning.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's how you make more free throws. That's how you're better from 3. But they still end up winning by 5 because they just got so many damn second opportunities. The thing that scares me, Aaron, is teams. What do we always talk about? Copycat. Okay, get to the mid range, pull up their big, put it up on the rim, and have a chance. It felt like that's what Texas Tech did a lot of too, wasn't it?
I mean, you probably know the X's and O's a little bit better than I know. You see the court differently than I do in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like that's kind of something that's, you don't want to put something on tape that teams are able to emulate. And it felt like that's something that maybe teams are figuring out about the defensive rebounding of this team is if you pull the big out to 8-10 feet, then there's a lot of space under the basket where you can get rebounds. Well, what do you want? And Aaron, here's the thing. If he doesn't come up to guard that guard driving down the lane from 8 feet, then they just make a layup. And then everybody's wondering why Aziz is just standing there flat-footed as the guy goes in for a layup. Well, he was trying to get a defensive rebound on a made layup. Usually not an effective strategy, defensive rebounding made layups.
Only 8. What was it? Only 8 turnovers for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier. That was critical if you were going to hang in this game, was not to give them points.
On the flip side of that same coin, though, only 8 assists.
Yeah, it was and
only 2 steals.
Yeah, this is Houston's got good guard play. They're going to take care of the ball.
They do.
But here's the difference, Aaron. Guess how many assists Houston had?
1 more.
They had 9. Houston made 27 baskets. Cincinnati made 19. Some of that is the difference in score. Offensive rebounding, you're generally not going to, an assist is not going to be involved because you're just getting the offensive rebound and putting it in the basket. There's no assist that's really in play there. But the other thing being, Houston made more shots, more contested, tough shots than Cincinnati made.
I mean, case in point being the
Crier shot.
Yeah.
Well, and Malik Wilson, who has scored 90 points on the season, makes 2. He only scored 4 points, but makes 2 incredibly tough contested shots in that stretch where they had Crier out, where you're hoping Cincinnati's able to take advantage of that. But Kelvin Sampson said it in the postgame. Basically, when Crier got that 4th foul, they just ran everything through Shed and Roberts and said, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat our best 2 guys with the ball in their hand. And that is what, for me, when you talk about not having an alpha, that's what that means to me is, okay, game's in the balance. You're in the middle of the second half. It's close. And we're just going to go 8 minutes and run everything through 2 guys. And those 2 guys are going to carry us to that final, the final deciding segment of the game. And that's what those 2 did. So, yeah, I mean, look, the problem now is, Aaron, you have to beat Iowa State. And I don't think people understand how good Iowa State is.
Well, coming into this game, the announcers did mention that Cincinnati was being mentioned currently as a first team out.
Yeah, Houston's not really going to change that any.
No, but winning it would have changed that, I think, dramatically.
Sure. But you have a chance to respond to that. And here's the good thing, I think, Aaron. This team has responded when their backs have been against the wall. Now you have to do it against one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league. Definitely top 3. I think, Baylor's right up there as well, but I would take Iowa State over Baylor right now because Iowa State's a little bit more balanced and their defense is a lot better than Baylor's. But one of the top 3 teams in the league is on your home court. It would be a massive win for the metrics. And you can't be 4-7. You got to get to 5-6. Like, you have to get to 5-6 getting into this stretch of the final 7 games. You cannot, and because what do you got after Iowa State? You're going to UCF, where UCF's going to be looking for a little revenge, and they play well at home. So you have got to find a way to win this Iowa State game at home against another elite defensive team. Elite.
Yeah.
Iowa State is 3 in adjusted defensive efficiency in the nation.
At the end of the day, if you want to be considered one of the better teams in this league, you have to beat some of the other better teams in this league.
Right. It's gonna be a war Tuesday, without question. Now, the difference being Houston is 16th in offensive efficiency. Iowa State is 44th. So, you're going to have a chance to slow down a little bit less of an offense, but they did. They beat TCU today.
You also have to be extremely happy that game is at home instead of at Iowa State.
Oh, you're not winning in Hilton Coliseum.
Has anyone in conference play?
No, they're undefeated in conference. All 3 of their conference losses have been on the road.
I'm checking to see if they lost at home.
I'm pretty sure they were undefeated.
They have not lost at home.
Yeah.
And that's currently as tough as anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, they're very, very good. They're balanced. They've got a great point guard. It's going to be up to Day to really, once again, kind of control the point guard play and make Lipsy really, really work for everything that he gets. Yeah, I remember that one. Jeffrey said one of the more fun and louder games at Fifth Third. Iowa State in 2015, Niang and Monty Morris. That was a hell of a game. I do remember that one well. I was a big Monty Morris guy. Watched him a bunch in AAU, and that one was down to UC and Iowa State. And I believe that was the same year as Cash. I think we've talked to Cash about that on one of the shows way back in the day. But I don't know, Aaron. You got anything else? I don't have a whole lot else. I mean, they got beat to hell on the glass. It was the difference in the game, and they didn't make enough shots in the second half. Second half, 33% from the floor, 22% from 3. You got to make more shots.
The announcers did drop a crazy stat saying that one of every 2 games currently in Big 12 is 2 possessions or less difference.
Yeah. Every game.
Nuts.
The challenge is going to be playing these 2 teams back to back because Houston beats you up. It's physical. It's a war of attrition playing Houston, and then you get Iowa State immediately after. There's going to be a lot of cold tubs tomorrow trying to get everybody's legs back for Tuesday.
I'm curious to see what Houston's able to. Houston doesn't play again until next Saturday. So they have a week to feel better after playing Cincinnati before hosting Texas. I'm curious to see if it still continues.
If it goes off the math, yeah.
Yep, because they have a week.
Aaron, Jerk chicken dinner. He wants to know my go-to at Island Fridays. Jerk chicken dinner, rice and peas, which is really rice and beans. They call beans peas in Jamaica. Figure that out. Jerk chicken dinner, rice and peas, gravy. You have to get the gravy on the rice and peas. This is important. The gravy is the broth of the oxtail stew. They pour it over the rice and peas. And then cabbage and fried plantain. That's the go-to at Island Fridays. It's delicious. No free ads.
Jeffrey, the second half rebound splits. 7 offensive rebounds, 13 defensive rebounds, 20 total rebounds for Houston, and 5 offensive rebounds, 12 defensive rebounds, 17 total for Cincinnati.
So it's much better in the second half. I mean, the first half, for a while, it was a bloodbath. Cincinnati was better in the second half, but at key moments, Houston got the offensive rebound and turned it into points. 22 second chance points.
22. We were both going for the same stat. 22. Oh,
they got outscored in the paint 38-22. They got dominated at the rim. So
if this team has a sports psychologist, I hope there's some sessions this week for everyone.
I don't think it's psychology as much as it is.
Can't hurt.
Guys are not quite where they need to be yet in their development to and I talked to Fran Fraschilla for a while before the game, who did color commentary.
Yeah.
And Fran said he sees a lot of like where Kelvin had Houston in year 3 with where Wes has things in year 3 at Cincinnati. They're right there. They're close, but they haven't broken through yet. But he talked about the culture being set and the identity being set, and those are all things that early in Kelvin's run, like Kelvin didn't really get it going until year 5. And he said Wes is, right on track, if not a little ahead of where Sampson was with Houston early in his tenure. But
in fairness, Wes is using the Big 12 brand as opposed to the AAC brand in year 3 as well.
Sure, but that Houston team, they're going to compete at any level just because of the way that they play. Even if they didn't have enough talent yet in year 3, the culture was there. So, yeah, we just need a Rob Gray. No. Keith, this is the shit that makes me annoyed. I'm just going to be honest. Sure, it's big time Division I basketball and they're getting paid. It has nothing to do with being weak-minded. He's not playing well. But if your team is going to reach its highest potential, you have to get one of your best players back on track. This isn't some macho, like, whose nuts are bigger? Oh, let's look. Hey, no. It's a team game. Guess what? We talked about the same shit when Day-Day was struggling at the beginning of Big 12 play. And everybody was ready to put him on the stake and burn him. Jizzle's the future. Day-Day sucks. Get this kid out of here. His minutes should be cut. He shouldn't see the floor. Day-Day is this. It's the same thing.
I said all those things.
And what did I tell you, Aaron?
I've publicly apologized.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, what did I say then? For this team to be as good as it possibly can be, they need to get to a point where Day-Day and Jizzle are both playing well.
We are a microwave culture, Chad. I don't know where this patience comes from you, but we want it now. And if you're not giving it to us, give us someone who can, okay?
Then you need to be taken out back and shot. Yeah, that's
fanatic.
It's not how team sports work.
Fanatic, Chad.
But look, I get the frustration with Vic. He's playing like shit. I get it. But to get to 9-9, I'll say this right now. If they don't get Vic back on track, this team will not get to 9-9. The only way they get to 9-9 and in the NCAA tournament is with a contributing Vic down the stretch of the season. That's it. So casting him aside and never playing him again is the dumbest thing you can possibly think.
I don't think you're going to get those stolen wins at this point, because I don't see Cincinnati being favored outside of maybe Oklahoma State, and yes,
they'll be favored Oklahoma State at home.
UCF,
Kansas State at home. UCF will be close.
TCU will be close.
TCU will be close. Oklahoma, I think, will be close at Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to fade.
But there's certainly still some opportunities on the schedule. It's just, I agree. I think you need a Viktor locked in to get there. He's lost the key. He needs to get locked in.
Yeah. Look, I get, West Virginia at home, they'll probably be favored.
You're right.
I get the frustration. I completely understand it. He has to play better. But casting him aside is not the answer.
I think
throwing the baby out with the bathwater is not the answer in this situation. It's just not.
I don't want him to get 0 minutes. I think that it's got to be, you've got to inch your way up, though. You can't just be back at here's 20 minutes. See what you can do.
No, but they're making him earn it. If he's not playing well, they're not leaving him out there, Aaron. I would get.
I understand. I'm looking at you.
I'm talking more to everybody than I'm talking to you. I would get, if he was playing 25 minutes and playing like this, I would get the anger and the frustration. I would get
be angry and frustrated.
I might be angry and frustrated if he was playing 27 minutes this time, because he's not playing well enough to play 27 minutes.
No.
And there are other options that are playing better. But you have got to find a way to get him back on track. You have to. Or else I don't see this team getting to 9-9 and making the NCAA tournament. I don't think they can do it if we get 12, 13 minutes of Vic with no points and 3 rebounds. I don't think that's enough.
Better put back dunk, Jamil's or John's?
You know what's crazy is I'll go John for this reason. It was so loud, emphatic, that I thought it was Jamil.
Jamil came out of
we're
nowhere.
Sitting. Yeah. No, but I mean, on the one John had, where we're sitting, we're all the way back up in the corner behind the opponent's bench. So you can't really see numbers in a crowd like that. I thought it was Jamil until I saw John landing. And I was like, oh, damn.
I actually did the same thing watching it on the TV. I thought it was Jamil with the way that it looked, just the ferocity behind the dunk. I also thought it was a
giant human trying to break the rim.
Yeah.
So I will go John, even though Jamil's was sick.
Jamil's was, for me, it was the angle coming from baseline as opposed to
And he caught it and
on a 3. Yeah, I feel like the skill level it took for the one that Jamil had was at a higher level than what John's was. John's came at a much more clutch time.
Sure.
But I think the skill for Jamil's was what put it over the top, and he just came the fuck out of nowhere.
Yeah, kind of was running straight down the center of the court, just left of the rim, tracked it perfectly as it went up in the air, and then not just the catch and barely dunking it, but the catch and getting a little mustard on it.
And I don't think he traveled once tonight. Well done, just the effort that we're seeing.
Yeah.
High praise for him tonight.
He's getting there. So
I got nothing.
I don't know. You got anything else?
I'm spent.
I will say, Aaron, 10 fast break points to 2 for Houston. That was good. It was good. Still a loss. What's crazy is the lead only changed twice and it was only tied twice.
These games.
Houston had the lead. This is what this tells the real story of the game. Houston had the lead for 31 minutes and 32 seconds. Cincinnati had it for 6. One team was better than the other today.
Get out of here, Kevin. Not a good joke. Not a good joke.
That's going to wrap it up. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. We'll talk it out. Yeah, something like that. We'll see you next time. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Houston 67, Cincinnati 62. Bearcats fall to 4-6 in Big 12 play. Iowa State probably moving up. Maybe another top 10 battle at Fifth Third Arena on Tuesday night. See ya.
See ya.